they're truly optimizing for an emergency scenario, in which case they're completely not on the same page with the US government and they just not willing to take that risk.
What are your thoughts on switching a little bit subjects here? What are your thoughts on the we mentioned strategy earlier and just some of the Bitcoin treasury companies and just kind of what we've been seeing over the last year or so? Is that affecting anything that you guys do? I mean, just I guess just overall thoughts on the Sailor and Metaplan and some of these companies, what they're doing, maybe what you guys are doing, but maybe also how it's affecting your business or people from those worlds maybe coming to you guys. Like, where do you see this kind of marriage and just maybe overall macro thoughts on it?
Not much yet. The interesting thing that I see is it's almost funny. Like, for example, Caribbean countries, they are having a really hard time understanding Bitcoin. But the moment they see
Interesting.
stock in your brokerage account, even though you literally hold the stock for the sake of them holding Bitcoin, then they're like, "Oh, this is great. That flies through AML, anti-money laundering, no problem. But if you were to
Yeah.
hold
Yeah.
Bitcoin, we would question that." And that's just funny to me.
Oh
So
man.
that definitely made some cases simpler, simply because people hold some of their wealth in those stocks, and we don't have to proof source of funds Bitcoin, proof of funds Bitcoin, etc. But what my concern recently was is, again, I'm not constantly on Twitter 24/7 anymore. I'm a mother. I have business
Hmm.
to run and all that. So I will go into some people's accounts and they have like MSTR, MSTY in their profile bio and absolutely no Bitcoin. And I'm like, wait a second, is there
Mm.
this entire like class of newcomers this cycle who completely
Mm.
got in for the number go up technology? So they see the number go
Hmm.
up in MicroStrategy, they buy in, they never learn the fundamentals of why Bitcoin matters and why the number goes up. And again, this is like just an educational point where we have to realize that lack of like censorship resistance is important. Being unseizable asset is extremely important. Like self custody is one of the main things Bitcoin brought to us, and now you're giving that up with MicroStrategy. So while I'm nowhere to be to tell people how they should do their what they should do with their money, etc. But understanding Bitcoin should be like prerequisite of being able to buy MicroStrategy, because if it's not the case, that's gonna be a sad thing.
Yeah, it just makes me think of Gladstein's Check Your Financial Privilege book. I just think of it so often, especially obviously us being here in America. You see so many people that you just we're very blessed here that we don't need to get it. A lot of people don't have to get it, quote unquote. And there's a lot of people around the world where it's a financial lifeline
Yeah.
necessity. And it's just that gap is wild to me. Like that bridge between those two groups of people or different groups of people is wild.
Yeah, it was
Um,
really easy for me to understand. The moment I learned enough about Bitcoin, it clicked. And I realized that
yeah, I
my
bet.
point of entry was like much lower. I needed to understand, okay, nobody
Hmm.
can seize my assets. Good, let's all in. I don't need to
Bingo.
know
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
While in the US, it's like,
Yeah.
well, nobody can seize my assets. I've been having, like, it's in my Chase bank for the last 45 years and
Oh my
nobody ever
gosh.
seized it. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
let me tell you a story.
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's crazy. I mean, like I have, buddies or insurance or like different stuff. And I've had fights. I mean, like, real heated like arguments of there's like, well, it's guaranteed, my insurance that I'm selling you, stuff like that. And it's like one stroke of a pen and these things change, guys. I mean, like it's, God love Joe Carlasari. Like I've fought with, him, debated him many times where it's just like, he's like, well, it was like, I remember years ago on Spaces, it was like, the CBDC thing was like really coming up. And this is when like, I think like Natalie Smolinski and Sam Callen were doing putting out a lot of reports and, things like that. And it was just really like a topic in Spaces, right? When, like you said, last administration. And it was like, Joe would come in and God love the lawyer. I'm married to one. And he's just like, well, that's against the, the code and this and that. And I'm just like, Joe, like what in your right mind makes you think they're going to follow that code? No, what country is following the codes and the law? I mean, that to me is just, whatever.
Yeah, he
That's
needs
yeah.
to
So
go
yeah, I could
watch the Big Short movie and all those AAA
love
mortgages,
you, Joe.
like,
Oh
yeah.
man.
It,
They're going to follow them until they don't, right?
yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy. Gosh, what do you think? So we were talking. I mean, I think one of the big things too is just how this changes the dynamic. Like where, so we were talking offline of like, say Bitcoin goes to 500,000 or goes to 1 million, or say it goes to 5 million eventually, which, a Bitcoiner knows, again, it's just inverse of the money printing. So eventually it's at some point in the future, it'll hit these prices and the purchasing power will continue to increase. What are your thoughts just on, you know, just people looking for not only passports, because is it violence on the rise? Are Bitcoiners hated at that point? Like when you kind of look out, like you said, I mean, you're a very good long-term thinker. What do you see down the road for Bitcoiners that are trying to protect themselves and just kind of escape, like I said, like learning from history, but also saying, hey, I might not be the most wanted person around, or I might be the most wanted person around, I guess, how you look at it. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to learn all those strategies because, again, Bitcoiners are going to be wealthy, but they're not going to be the first wealthy people ever, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
very fiat
Yep.
wealthy who have to protect themselves in many ways, and they have to interact with bureaucracy in the legal world, with setting up trusts, setting up jurisdictional layers of protection for their funds, setting up the structures for inheritance. And Bitcoin being the teenager, like in its teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
we are still not fully there. And like there will be new ways that are self-custodial, that are on chain, to be able to build those old school structures on chain. Like one of the things that I'm pretty bullish is time locks. I'm sure this time locks
Mm,
thing will get into great inheritance protocols, great
yeah.
force hodls, and just like, well, range attack, there's still nothing I can do for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Like it's under the time lock. So all those little things, all those old school legacy systems will get built out. And we're already seeing this, right? With Anchor Watch coming out and other similar protocols. Like it's happening. It's just going to take time, creativity, and interestingly enough, it's going to take the old world legacy system experts who got down the rabbit hole. And it's kind of a funny thing because we have lots of like we're young. You and I are young. We
Yeah.
we learn Bitcoin while being very young, so we may not have 25
Yep.
years of experience in the traditional legal world. Um, but there will be those guys who come in and say, "Well, yeah, I've done it for 30 years, but I've gone down this rabbit hole." And I see how this is lacking, and maybe we can build it out.
Mm.
So just bringing the old school expertise to a new world understanding is necessary. And yeah, it will be interesting to see.
If you're ready for your next piece of education, go click on this video here. However, if you're ready to take action on all the education you have seen, then go to our links right below. Get your hardware wallet from Foundation, $10 off. Go get your seed phrase from that wallet and put it into titanium from Stampseed, 15% off. And then go to the Bitcoin Way, check them out because they are going to be the team to walk you through everything.